So, the piece I chose to share with you, Mrs. Morrow, is this piece. And I actually did it over 3 times during the day because the moon was, not the moon, but the sky was so spectacular that day. So I started at 4:30 in the afternoon, and it was because my son had actually pointed up and noticed this brilliant moon. It is a brilliant moon set against a blanket of 1,000,000 sparkling stars. Dear moon, thank you for a day filled with so many surprises.
I really like how you've observed the moon at 3 separate times during the day. It's not something that I myself had considered doing. But what I find so interesting is that each section could be developed into a different writing form.
Okay.
The first section, where you mentioned that your son was the one who pointed out the moon to you, is much like a journal entry. But where you wrote, and he cried, moon.
Yes.
I see the possibility of writing a dialogue between you and your son about that experience viewing the moon. And I think it's really interesting that you had the sticky note here.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of the writer's notebooks that we use in class. You all have writer's notebooks. And we know that that's what good writers do. When they're inspired, when they have an idea, they have to jot it down. And they can always go back to it later and develop it into a piece. In the second section, I really love the visual imagery. I love the line about the sky was layers of pink, purple, and blue like cotton candy in the sky. And it could be developed into a writing piece that touches on simile and metaphor.
What did you notice about our conversation? Because what I'd like you to do in a little while is go back to your desks and share your moon journals with a partner just the way Mrs. Morrow and I have done. And I want you to be able to tell me something that you've noticed about our talk before you go off and do that. What sort of suggestions did we give to each other?
Like, you gave just suggestions what you should do better and what she should work on more.
Okay. So areas to improve. What did you notice, Joey?
You said that, like, the pieces were excellent. You pointed out the things that were good and then pointed out the things that you need to work on.
Makes the writer feel really good about their own writing, because all our writing is really personal, right? Do you remember with mine how I had 3 different pieces? What was Mrs. Morrow's suggestion with that?
That you could almost make like a poem out of it.
Okay.
Because you had so many good lines that if you just mix them together, then you would make a great poem.
Right. So she suggested a new form for my writing.
So
right?
like just mixing up the lines a bit, and you can make another great entry or
That's
a
right.
poem.
So perhaps when you're reading your partner's entries, it might jump off at you. Oh, that sounds like poetry to me, right? So we could suggest to each other what form our writing could take next. Okay?
I liked your vocabulary, and you made me visualize a very good picture, like dogs barking, and like you used all your senses, your observations. I like how you said that the street light looks like a star in the night sky. The part I liked about your entry was the ending when you said that it looks like a cookie. It kind of made me like my stomach growl.
I like the way how you made your entry look sound like a letter.